Hi there. I think one of the challenges I've seen people have when they're learning to center is that they're still a little bit in their thinking mind. Well, a little bit, right? We all are. And in that space, there's a desire to know what it would look like, know what I'm reaching for, what am I trying to create. And the reality is, you don't have to create centering. It's not something that you need to invent. At the heart of who you are as essence, you are already centered, fully centered in the center of your head. You just haven't been living there. And so getting there is very different from when we take our physical body to a physical space, right? If I wanted to go to the store, I have to get up, put my shoes on, get my purse, think of all these things. And in my head, I'm thinking maybe of the route that I'm going to take to get to the store. It's totally different when learning to center in the center of your head. The difference is it's not doing anything, but it's not an emptiness. It's a honing in, allowing. And so I often use the analogy of, what it's like when you're tasting a new dish and you've taken a bite and you're like, this is really interesting. What is this? What's that spice in there? And maybe there's like one or two that you recognize right at the top, like, oh, that's coriander or that's anise but then there's like something under there and you just know there's something in there. So you take another bite, you have it in your mouth, and you just kind of hone into it. So it's like a listening, a paying attention. And what you're doing is you're temporarily silencing everything around so that you can hone in. And then here's the interesting piece. And you open to it. So you bring it more into your experience. So you hone into it, and then in that attention, it makes it louder. It makes it a bigger experience, even though it's the same amount of flavor that you had in the first bite. And in that moment, you may have a knowingness arise, like, oh, it's cinnamon. And maybe if you're really sophisticated, have a very sophisticated palate, you might even recognize the different types of cinnamon that exist. There's different types of paprika, for example. But in that knowingness, that owning of it, it's not an intellectual thing. It's just a knowingness that comes from that recognition. It's that deep recognition within yourself. Oh, right, it's cinnamon. And in my experience as an energy awareness teacher and as someone who teaches primarily centering and grounding, this is exactly the process of becoming aware and recognizing oneself as energy. So first there's the step-by-step instructions of how to center, and then it's up to you to hone in, listen, and receive that sense of who you are. And in that moment, you blossom as who you are, and you become simultaneously known to yourself. You know your own energy, you know your own flavor, you know your own scent. You become who you are. And it is a combination, it's happening in the moment. So who you are is arising and being created by the moment. So the moment itself already exists. The now moment is always here, in a sense, waiting like a light in a window for us to come home. And when we do, there's oftentimes this sense of familiarity. And sometimes people will use that terminology exactly. They'll say, I feel like I'm home. You know it. So you don't have to think, how do I get there? How do I create it? You don't have to worry about that at all. You just need to follow the step-by-step steps, the step-by-step instructions of how to center, and then give yourself the time to blossom, to unfold, to allow yourself to experience you as energy. Hi there, my name's Kendall Ann Dixon, and I'm an energy awareness teacher. I've been teaching these particular tools for over 15 years, and I've been able to see and read energy since I was a kid. I recently wrote a book called Finding Yes, the First Step, and I'm currently rebranding it. It'll be Finding Yes, a complete guide to being centered and living a joyful life. And the reason I've rebranded it is to put the benefit of centering right up front and center. When we learn to recognize who we are as energy, then we can learn to manage that, and we can learn to live it. And that, in my experience, is the key to living a joyful life. You can find my book and my courses at kendalldixon.com. I hope you have a great day.